The 2024 NFL playoff race is heating up as Week 15 wraps up, and with only a few weeks left in the regular season, several teams are already in the hunt for postseason spots. Here's a breakdown of the current playoff picture heading into Week 16. NFC playoff picture. Detroit Lions, 12-2, NFC North leaders. The Lions are tied for first place in the NFC after suffering a tough loss to Buffalo in Week 15. They are locked in a three-way tie for the conference lead, and their division title hopes are still alive. Detroit holds the tiebreaker over Philadelphia due to its Week 7 win over the Eagles and its better conference record, 8-1. However, the Lions must win to hold their divisional lead and secure the top spot in the NFC. Remaining schedule: at Bears, at 49ers, versus Vikings. Philadelphia Eagles, 12-2, NFC East leaders. The Eagles, winners of 10 straight, are also tied with Detroit but face a more challenging path to clinching the division. A win against Washington in Week 16 would secure Philly's NFC East title. However, they will need some help from the Lions to move into the conference's top spot. Remaining schedule: at Commanders, versus Cowboys, versus Giants. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 8-6, NFC South leaders. The Buccaneers dominated the Chargers on Sunday and remain atop the NFC South for at least another week. With Seattle's loss, they moved up a spot in the standings, sitting one game ahead of the Rams. Tampa Bay has a better record in conference games, 6-3, than the Rams, 5-5. Remaining schedule: at Cowboys, versus Panthers, versus Saints. Los Angeles Rams, 8-6, NFC West leaders. The Rams control the NFC West but must win to secure the division title. Their victory over Seattle on Sunday night helped them move ahead in the standings, and now, thanks to their Week 9 victory over the Seahawks, they are in the lead. Remaining schedule: at Jets, versus Cardinals, versus Seahawks. Minnesota Vikings, 12-2, wild card number 1. Following Seattle's loss on Sunday night, the Vikings secured a playoff spot and now control their fate in the NFC North. If they win, they will win the division title. Remaining schedule: at Seahawks, versus Packers, at Lions. Green Bay Packers, 10-4, wild card number 2. Despite being swept by Detroit, the Packers are still in the wild card race, but they must continue to win. A victory over the Seahawks helped them keep their playoff hopes alive, but they still need help from other teams to secure a spot. Remaining schedule: versus Saints, at Vikings, versus Bears. Washington Commanders, 9-5, wild card number 3. The Commanders kept their playoff hopes alive with a slim victory over the Saints. They're still in the hunt for the NFC East, but will need to win out and get some help to secure a playoff berth. Remaining schedule: versus Eagles, versus Falcons, at Cowboys. Seattle Seahawks, 8-6, are in the hunt. The Seahawks dropped 8-6 after losing to the Packers, and now they're on the outside looking in. They may have to proceed without their injured QB, Geno Smith, making their playoff prospects even more uncertain. Remaining schedule: versus Vikings, at Bears, at Rams. Atlanta Falcons, 7-7, in the hunt. After snapping a 4-game losing streak with a Monday night win against the Raiders, the Falcons are still in the NFC South race. They've swept the Buccaneers, which could help them in tiebreakers, but they need to continue winning and hope Tampa Bay slips up. Remaining schedule: versus Giants, at Commanders, versus Panthers. Arizona Cardinals, 7-7, in the hunt. The Cardinals stopped a 3-game losing streak with a win over the Patriots, but their chances of taking the NFC West are slim. They need to keep winning and hope for a turnaround in the division. Remaining schedule: at Panthers, at Rams, versus 49ers. San Francisco 49ers, 6-8, in the hunt. The 49ers' postseason hopes were nearly dashed after their loss to the Rams. They now have less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs. Remaining schedule: at Dolphins, versus Lions, at Cardinals. Dallas Cowboys, 6-8 in the hunt. The Cowboys are still alive, but like the 49ers, their playoff hopes are hanging by a thread. They need to win out, but it is the NFC East's strength and need for more consistency. Rima, it seems unlikely winning schedule: versus Buccaneers, at Eagles, versus Commanders. AFC playoff picture: Kansas City Chiefs, 13-1, AFC West champions. The Chiefs continue to dominate the AFC West and are well positioned to secure the number 1 seed and home field advantage in the playoffs. A win over the Texans combined with a Buffalo loss would clinch the top spot. Remaining schedule: versus Texans, at Steelers, at Broncos. Buffalo Bills, 11-3, AFC East champions. The Bills are in control of the AFC East and looking for home field advantage. Their recent win against Detroit has restored their confidence in a favorable closing schedule. Remaining schedule: versus Patriots, versus Jets, at Patriots. Pittsburgh Steelers, 10-4, AFC North leaders. The Steelers clinched a playoff spot after a tough win, but Buffalo has made it their path to the number 1 seed. A win over the Ravens would secure the AFC North, but Pittsburgh is still chasing the top seed. Remaining schedule: at Ravens, versus Chiefs, versus Bengals. Houston Texans, 9-5, AFC South champions. The Texans clinched their division, but still fought for a higher playoff spot. A win over the Colts has them on track, but they must continue winning to secure a top 3 seed. Remaining schedule: at Chiefs, versus Ravens, at Titans. Baltimore Ravens, 9-5, wild card number 1. Baltimore's win over the Giants helped its playoff chances, but it will need to win at least one more game to secure a wild card spot. It is not out of the AFC North race yet, but it must beat Pittsburgh in Week 16. Remaining schedule: versus Steelers, at Texans, versus Browns. Denver Broncos, 9-5, wild card number 2. The Broncos are on track to return to the playoffs for the first time since winning Super Bowl 50. A win over the Chargers in Week 16 solidified their wild card berth. Remaining schedule: at Chargers, at Bengals, versus Chiefs. Los Angeles Chargers, 8-6, wild card number 3. The Chargers are hanging on to the final wild card spot, but they've been inconsistent. They can clinch their SAMs if they win and receive help from other teams. Remaining schedule: versus Broncos, at Patriots, at Raiders. Indianapolis Colts, 6-8 in the hunt. The Colts' loss to Denver likely ended their playoff chances. Remaining schedule: versus Titans, at Giants, versus Jaguars. Miami Dolphins, 6-8 in the hunt. The Dolphins' loss to Houston essentially ended their playoff hopes. Remaining schedule: versus 49ers, at Browns, at Jets. Cincinnati Bengals, 6-8 in the hunt. The Bengals kept their playoff hopes alive with a win in Nashville, but they still need a lot of help and must win out to stay in the race. Remaining schedule: versus Browns, versus Broncos, at Steelers. NFL playoff clinching scenarios for Week 16. Kansas City clinches AFC number 1 seed. Win plus Buffalo loss or tie. Tie plus Buffalo loss. Pittsburgh clinches AFC North. Win. Baltimore clinches playoff berth. Win or tie. Miami loss or tie plus Indianapolis loss or tie. Denver clinches playoff berth. Win or tie. Miami loss or tie plus Cincinnati loss or tie plus Indianapolis loss or tie. Los Angeles Chargers clinch playoff berth. Win plus Miami loss or tie plus Indianapolis loss or tie. Tie plus Miami loss plus Indianapolis loss plus Cincinnati loss or tie. Philadelphia clinches NFC East. Win or tie. Green Bay clinches playoff berth. Win or tie. Atlanta loss or tie plus LA Rams loss or tie. Atlanta loss or tie plus Seattle loss or tie. Washington clinches playoff berth. Win plus Atlanta loss or tie plus LA Rams loss or tie. Win plus Atlanta loss or tie plus Seattle loss or tie. Tie plus Atlanta loss plus Arizona loss or tie plus LA Rams loss or tie plus Seattle loss or tie, as long as both the Rams and Seahawks don't tie. NFL teams eliminated from playoff contention. New York Giants, Las Vegas Raiders, New England Patriots, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, New York Jets, Chicago Bears, Carolina Panthers.